Flo is here as well. Much more serious issues to talk about with Flo. We're talking about Turkey. Papers there, of course, continue to report on the aftermath of this deadly attack. The so-called Islamic State group now saying they're behind the attack.
That's right. Turkish papers are continuing to mourn the victims. Let's take a look at the front page of Hurriyet Daily News. You can see they're reporting how the majority of victims were Middle Eastern tourists who came to Istanbul to celebrate the new year. And there's a really bleak article in Hurriyet Daily News today saying that Turkey has become a country that cannot protect the lives of its own citizens or foreign guests, be they tourists or diplomats. You can see it there in the first article there. It says that it now competes with Iraq and Afghanistan. Now, it's not just the feeling of insecurity or instability. You can see Turkey must be rebranded as a third world country. So quite a bleak article indeed.
Lots of papers are focusing wider on the whole of the state of the Middle East, aren't they? The Arab Spring began 6 years ago this month.
Absolutely. Let's start with a cartoon. This is in China Daily. We can see the situation in Syria where a very fragile ceasefire is in place. Let's take a look also at the editorial of The Guardian today. Goodness, I've got a frog in my throat. I'll get there. You can see they're talking about how the Arab Spring could actually happen again. It says that the underlying reasons for the revolt have not gone away. In many ways, the conditions today are even more explosive than in 2011. It's really fascinating. It says that, sure, 6 years on, the dreams of those who were either in Egypt or Yemen or Libya or, of course, Syria are in tattered, but you can see here a revolt could re-emerge. And according to The Guardian, there's several factors. First of all, the rate of poverty is outpacing growth. You also still have a huge number of young people. Democracy is crushed. So these are all the reasons why the Arab Spring could very well happen again. It's a really fascinating editorial I do recommend.
OK, we're going to move stateside now. The 115th Congress is set to sit for the first time later today, even before President-elect Donald Trump assumes office.
That's right. Republicans just can't wait to get to work. Let's take a look at the Independent today. You can see they have their work cut out for them. A long list of things they want to do. Essentially, they want to start wiping out Barack Obama's legacy on day one. Now, they have a long list of priorities, which include repealing, of course, the Affordable Care Act, commonly known as Obamacare. They also want to repeal environmental regulations, confirm a new Supreme Court justice. They have a lot of work to do, which is why I guess they're so eager to get to work.
And some US papers holding out hope that damage will be limited.
That's right. I guess you could say it's wishful thinking from the Washington Post today. You can see they say that Obamacare is unlikely to die a swift death. Several reasons for that. First of all, Democratic opposition, of course, and also their very complex Senate rules that mean that the core pieces of the 2010 health care overhaul are likely to remain. And also there's a key factor, and that's that Republicans, even though they really want to repeal Obamacare, they don't really have a plan B. And so it's probably going to stay in place until they can come up with that plan. And then, of course, there's the issue of the environment. There's a very interesting cartoon by Tom Tolles today in the Washington Post. I guess you can't order the environment around. You can see Donald Trump here talking to this tidal wave that represents the climate. He says, the Republican House and the Republican Senate passed, and I signed, and the Republican Supreme Court upheld my decree that you must recede. But it's unclear whether that climate wave is going to listen to that order from President Trump.
I think you may get swamped. Let's move on to Israeli papers now. They're focusing on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who's been questioned by police. This is in his official residence as part of a months-long corruption inquiry.
That's right. It's a huge story in Israeli papers today. I took an article from Haaretz if you need any details. You can see he was questioned for 3 hours over alleged gifts. Detectives are trying to find out whether he broke the law by receiving gifts worth hundreds of thousands of shekels from wealthy businessmen. Now, Netanyahu has strongly denied any wrongdoing. He was quite colorful in his comments. He's told opponents to hold off from the partying, to wait before ordering new suits to wear as ministers. Now, he also said, well, this article says the same can be said about anybody who wants to, succeed him at the Likud party. It says, don't hold your breath, essentially. And there's an interesting analysis piece in the Jerusalem Post, which also says, anyone who's eyeing his seat better hold off. It's too early to be anticipating his political demise. No matter what happens, he can certainly sit comfortably in the Prime Minister's office for many months to come.
Finally from Flo, Facebook. They're drawing criticism. Now, this is for the blocking of a photo, somebody naked, but a statue that's naked.
A 16th century statue, in fact. In fact, we got a photo of the statue. You can see it's kind of a far away photo, so we're not going to get into trouble here. It's fine. This is the 16th century statue of Neptune that is in the Piazza di Nettuno in the city of Bologna. Now, a local writer, Elisa Barbari, had chosen this statue to illustrate her Facebook page, but the Facebook software blocked it for being sexually explicit. Now, this article points out that Facebook has since admitted its error, but it's true that the network tends to come under criticism quite a lot for its hypocritical nudity restrictions. You can't see a nipple, but of course you can glorify rape and terrorism. So you can see here they have allowed this photo to be online again. So perhaps everyone should put it as their Facebook profile.
He does have a very large trident.
He certainly does.
Yeah. Thanks.